Hello and welcome to another Uniko video with me, Bev, the owner and designer of all things Uniko. Today is day 4 of the April 2025 release product introductions, and today I am introducing a new stamp set. This is the second stamp set being introduced for this product release. We've got one more day to go, and that's a stencil. So today is originally organic flower garden. Now a while ago, it was in March, I did a video about the originally organic series and how it's my signature style. So you'll often sort of see this style, very curved lines, clean, but modern, florals and foliage, and the leaves often have this sort of like split in them, and you'll see these trio of dots and things. And it's designed that it can be used individually, but also that it can be combined together and mixed and matched to give even more options. One little change that I did bring to this set this time is my font choice. It is a little bit different, but I really like it, and it just brings a little difference to this this collection, the originally organic collection. So in this one we have this main image here, which is where the flower garden sort of title comes from, with the foliage and the stems and the flowers just ready to bloom there. Then we have this little stem, two like cherry blossom type flowers, the leaf and a solid version of the flowers, and then 3 sentiment choices: bloom where you are planted, happy birthday, and hello friend. And we'll have a quick look at the cards that I've shared today. This first card was one that we made at the Uniko Spring Stamping Retreat. Again, I kept things really simple here. Just stamped the sort of flower garden image, coloured it with alcohol markers, and then stamped a simple sentiment. And then I had adhered it to my card base just with foam adhesive. I don't think, sometimes I really revert back to the clean and simple and let the image just take focus of the card, because it is pretty at the end of the day. And then my second card today is one that uses the leaf image, another really quick, clean and simple card. I just stamped the leaf hanging down and then just coloured it in a two-tone effect with the alcohol markers. And then the sentiment is from Mid-Century Modern Everyday Sentiments, and I just added a trio of enamel dots. Now, I do have some other samples, but they are for release day, so I will keep them aside for now. There'll be lots more inspiration using this set from the brand ambassadors. Over on the blog we have our traditional introduction blog hop, and they come up with some really fabulous ideas of how to use this set. Now, I thought it'd be nice to use this stem. I haven't used it a lot recently, so I thought I'd focus on that one today in the video and use these 2 blooms alongside it. So what I'm going to start off doing is I am just using my It's not the colour I wanted black. I am just using my traditional acrylic blocks and the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. With these being sort of outline images, they're not too large. You shouldn't have any problems stamping them, having to use a platform. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but today I thought I would just use my acrylic blocks. I often just keep a selection next to me on my desk. As I say, I tend to use my stamping platform, my Misty, for more solid images or larger images where there is the potential for it not to stamp completely first time. So I keep a few. I'm stamping these on a separate piece of cardstock, and I did them first and just set them aside to dry a little bit because I'm going to fussy cut them out. I've got another size block here, and what I did, I'm again keeping it really simple. I went ahead and cut my base, and then I've cut this panel, I believe it's about 7 by 10 centimeters, and I'm gonna pop it with foam adhesive in the center of this card once we've stamped it. But so I pre-cut that. I'm just going to ink this and stamp it fairly central on the panel and just hope I don't mess it up. It's always the way, isn't it? You try and say, oh yeah, I'll do this. I'm not worried too much if the flowers overhang a bit when I adhere them. So I've stamped that. I am going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. I'm going to go with Hello Friend for this one. I've used the happy birthday a few times already, and I have used the Hello Friend, but haven't used it for a while, so I'll use that one. Before I stamp, I should have adhered it with some temporary adhesive just to hold it in place. I'm just going to stamp it off to the side here, like so. And then I'm going to do a little bit of simple colouring like I did the other day when I introduced Butterfly Serenade. And I've chosen a few colours here, and I'm going to start with the flowers. Leave the stem to dry a little bit, and I'm going to be again just flat colouring, just being quite careful because the ink is probably still a little bit wet. And even though this ink is really good for colouring with alcohol markers, if it's still a little bit wet, the alcohol marker will sort of draw the colour, the black, in with your colour, and you get sort of like these grey streaks. So I'm just being a little bit careful here. What I love about alcohol markers and just simple flat colouring, you can't really go wrong. And you can even just with one colour get a little bit of depth just by going over again in one area. I'm not going to do too much because again I don't want the black to bleed, but I just wanted a little bit of colour I chose a pink and a blue. I know you would not get necessarily 2 different colour buds on one flower, but hey ho, this doesn't have to be realistic. It just has to be as creative as you want it to be. As I say, this set, the flowers will work with the originally organic editions. They will work with those sets and vice versa, as the style matches. But as you saw on that leaf, the foliage card, I used a mid-century modern sentiment. So as I am the only designer of Uniko products, I do obviously have a style of designing that they will work seamlessly together. I hope you've enjoyed the release so far. This week is absolutely flying by, with only one more product to introduce to you. Hopefully you can see this. I was just checking that I was still in good view on the camera. And I think if you like this product that I'm introducing today, I think you'll like tomorrow's as well. There is a little bit of a crossover. I'm not going to give too much away. But yeah, I've enjoyed this week. I always enjoy showing you new products and trying to use some of the older products as well with the new ones. I know I've kept my videos this week quite simple, but really it's just to show you the product visually in a different format, really, other than just sharing a photograph of a card. And then I've gone ahead and I've got 2 shades of green. This is Granny Apple Green. I've got a light and a dark. When you buy the markers, they come in 2 shades, light and dark, which makes things super easy. So this sort of style of leaf is very common, and you can see it throughout the originally organic collection. I really enjoy colouring this style of leaf as well. I find it quite therapeutic. So I've done the lighter on the outside and then I'm doing the dark on the inside. Sometimes I switch it about. Again, I'm not being too I'm not too worried about getting lighting and shadows and whatnot exactly right. I'm just doing simple colouring just to highlight the image. I don't always have the patience to do fancy colouring. It's fairly quick. I didn't choose a colour for my dots here, but I might just use the yellow that I've already got out rather than add another colour to the palette. again, just I've really sort of like honed back in on my clean and simple card making style recently as well, with minimal fuss and just letting the images take center stage. So now I've done that, I'm gonna fussy cut these out. Now some people don't like to leave a white border. I find it just nice. There's not many dye companies or companies that produce dyes that don't leave a slight border. The majority do, and I know it. There was a couple of people that I met recently at a show said that they really dislike the white border left by dyes. I used to try and cut right on the line, but I always felt it looked a little bit messy, where if you leave this sort of like white border, obviously I try and keep it so it's perfectly sized all the way around, but it never is, but it's near enough. I just feel it doesn't look quite as messy. I don't know, I guess it's just personal preference. Do you cut with a slight white border, or do you cut directly on the outline of the image? I'd love to know. So they're not too bad. Again, I'm turning the paper rather than turning my scissors. This just helps get a smooth cut line. And there we have one. And this one's a little bit more tricky as it's smaller. But again, it's just about taking the time to cut round. There's no rush. And I'm going to use some foam tape, my usual 1mm thick. It's my go-to thickness. Almost done. Just this last little bit to do. Like so. And then I've got the foam adhesive here, and I'm just going to pop a couple of squares on the back of this little one. I'm going to stick that one on first. And I'm going to have it popped here. And then I'm going to put some more tape on this one. I'm going to just test it. So one of the petals is going to overlap, so I'm not going to put any foam adhesive on that one, and just put it on the others. And then I have got a little pot this time where I'm keep all my little squares, and then I can just tip them into the bin. So I am slowly getting better at keeping my space tidier. And then I'm just popping that there, like so. And then again, I'm going to use the foam adhesive on the back to adhere it to the card. So I've kept it super simple. Again. And you could make a little bouquet of these with different flower heads from the different sets. So many choices. honestly, I sometimes get overwhelmed when it comes to thinking about what to do in videos, thinking that I've got to show something like a technique or something. Obviously I'm showing you new products, but there's so much you can do with one stamp set or one stencil, that really I should stop overthinking and just show you rather than procrastinating. I could probably do like a 5-video series on just one stamp set if I really sat down and thought about it, but because how often do we get a new product and we love it that much, we use it over and over again. So I'm just eyeballing it here, trying to make sure it's fairly centralized, and that is how I am going to leave it. No bling, no fuss, just a nice clean and simple card. And there were the other two that I shared earlier, and they are just from this one stamp set, Originally Organic Flower Garden. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's introduction and you like this set as much as I do. It'll be available on Sunday the 27th, not long to wait now, at 9 AM BST, and I will also have the products with me at Craftorama in Lincoln on Sunday. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you are enjoying these videos, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.